Doom the Dark Ages is way too easy. I mean, it's so easy, a game journalist could do it, and you know how they are with Doom. So I decided to make it as hard as possible. Why? Because the doctor said that I was special. Can you beat Doom the Dark Ages' hardest challenge? So, getting into the reason on why this challenge is so hard. 3 reasons. 1, I take 500% more damage than I usually would, and I deal 50% less. I also have the parry timing set to minimum, and death assistance turned off. Now, a lot of these other settings are just set to their nightmare defaults, because they're pretty much already at their highest, so I didn't really touch anything else. And I don't want to hear some of you bitching in the comments about the resource values being above minimum. It's not like it matters when I could get hit by a limp dick and die. Now, leave a like, subscribe, and let's get into it. Also, quick side note, thank you so much for 1K subscribers. I love you all. Now, we start off at the village of Kalim, where we run into our very first problem. The fodder demons do as much damage as promised consort Radon. And because I don't have access to the shield saw, it's really hard to take care of them in large groups. And when my only option for dealing damage is the combat shotgun, which sometimes doesn't even take them out in one hit. Now, once we head into the village, we fight our first imp stalker. And oh my god, this thing is so booty butt cheeks ass. I mean, it takes like 5 shots just to kill one imp stalker. After struggling to deal with one imp stalker, we're finally able to pick up our melee weapon. And after that, we're immediately thrust into our first large-scale arena battle. And not having access to the shield saw here is a giant problem, because if you don't get rid of the fodder demons in time, you will die, because the shield can only take 2 hits and won't recharge until GTA 6 comes out. Now, after getting my cheeks meticulously clapped for 25 minutes, I was given the reward of trying to take down some portals, which, according to the codex, leads to some of the worst places in the universe. Now, after taking down 2 portals, we finally get access to the Shredder, and with that, we finally don't have to get so close to a demon that it could be misinterpreted as yaoi fanfiction that you would find on Reddit after misclicking while trying to take a virus out of your computer, just to kill one demon. Now, after we take 2 more portals, we head down to the beach, and I'm just gonna rant for a bit here, but the critical health notification is so fucking annoying. I mean, I'm just imagining Hugo Martin in a creative room thinking, okay, how can we let the player know that he's low on health? I got it. We take all 4 corners of the screen and just bleach them red so it's impossible to see anything. Plus, there's a heartbeat sound, which stops me from hearing the sound cues of parryable projectiles. My god, this is Doom the Dark Ages. I'm not playing Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, once we get past the beach section, we gotta go down to go defend the beach from a Titan. Now, I think I'm the first person to ever die on this turret section, and I don't want to talk about it, okay? Now, after that, we're introduced to our stunning cast of characters, which include characters like Inflated Los Pollos, Yes King, and Gender Swapped Master Chief. And yes, Thera is just gender swapped Master Chief. They're both soldiers with a blue entity inside of their head. And how could you forget the Hairline Devil from Chainsaw Man? And during this cutscene, we hear their conversation talking about how the Doomslayer has too much swag to be dealt with, so their best course of action is to just ignore it, kinda like how DICE ignored Titanfall 2. Now, on the next level, we head over to Hebeth, and we finally get access to the shield saw, and this thing solves our biggest problem, which is dealing with fodder demons. Now, we make our way through the level and we get introduced to the upgrade system. And to make a long story short, Steadfast is the only upgrade you need in this entire game. It's the best thing ever and nothing ever compares to it. Now, after running around for a while, we eventually end up right before the plasma rifle. But in order to get it, we have to first take out a Mancubus. And for some reason, id Software decided to make these Mancubi extremely thick for no reason. And I kept getting distracted, so I constantly kept dying. Now, after a Titan appears, we gotta go head outside to go deal with it. And we get introduced to our first Essence Demon. Now, basically, the way these work is that you just kill them and they give you some health, ammo, or armor. Now, the caveat to that is that they're about as strong as when Jimmy Neutron turned himself into the Hulk. Now, the biggest problem is not actually the demon itself, it's the fact that it will constantly spawn other heavy demons until you kill the Essence Demon. And my current loadout has about as much strength as an Argentinian peso. And I get put in the ass blast chamber while I get fucked over and over again. But I finally decide to lock in, and my reward is 10 health. God damn it. Now, for this next level, we're fighting in a funny looking Gundam. But don't kid yourself, these sections are some of the worst in the entire game. Because I forgot to mention earlier, but part of this rule also includes turning the Atlan's dodge window down to minimum, and it makes it microscopically small. And also, like my dick, it gets beat a lot. But the biggest problem of these levels is the fact that one punch takes me down to critical health, and constantly hearing the low health warnings was enough to give me a lobotomy. Now, why are we in a Gundam? Simple answer. It's because the entire planet is about to fucking explode. Now, unlike China every 200 years, we actually want to prevent this from happening. So, we head out to go fight some Titans. Now, about halfway through the level, we get a machine gun, and this makes my life significantly easier because if instead of being forced to dodge the extremely obvious telegraphed attacks and failing like a moron, I can just shoot them from a distance. Now, after we get through that section, we head over to go grab the reactor core before it explodes, but before we're able to throw it away, we have to fight an armor demon, and the biggest problem with dealing with them is that they have a shield, and if you hit it, it deals damage to you. Now, because of the way that Titan combat works, the game loves to lag inputs in these sections, so that's why I keep hitting the shields, and not because I'm a stupid idiot who can't see the color red. Now, after we take care of him, we give him a little snack before sending him on his way. Now, after we beat this level, we get another cutscene where somehow Azric managed to make his hairline even bigger. Now that is a truly impressive feat from the hairline devil. He may even reach his final form, KSI. Now, on the next level, we cut into the Doomslayer aura farming like Piccolo, because we all know his first priority is killing demons, and his second is aura farming. Now, we cut over to Master Chief and Yes King, and this is where they first discovered the plot device, which is basically just a 4 Loco, and how terribly awful and game-ending it would be if the Hairline Devil got his hands on it. Anyways, we started this level by grabbing the Skull Crusher Pulverizer, which is a weapon specifically designed to deal with mass amounts of fodder demons. Yeah, this thing fucking sucks. And this is immediately proven in the next room, where I try to use it to take out a massive amount of fodder demons and just end up dying over and over and over again. So I just give up and use the shield saw. Now, for most of this level, I decided to be like Mr. Krabs and continue my search for precious gold, because not only is steadfast good, it's pretty much required for beating this game. Now, after a bit, we get access to the Impaler, which can give your opponents a lobotomy, but unlike Twitter, it's actually good. Now, after the longest Essence Demon fight ever, we go on to fight our first boss of the run in the Vagary Champion. Now, normally, this boss is a parry fest, and you could take him down in 30 seconds, but because of the buff poison attack, which normally does a modest amount of damage, will absolutely kill you if you're in there for longer than 2 seconds. And, for some stupid-ass reason, it also has a slow effect. You know, I really think the devs were trying to emulate what it feels to watch the Doom movie with this boss. And it doesn't help that this fight takes 2 entire minutes. But after we beat him, we're able to move on. Now, onto the Drag My Balls level, where we spend most of our time failing to dodge the most easily telegraphed parries in the entire game. Now, the worst part about this level is that it introduces the Cyber Demon, and this guy is an ass-licking piece of shit who has about as much health as Queso. Now, this fat ass over here will continue to shoot you and deal constant damage to either you or your shield until you actually go and deal with him. But now, I gotta talk about the real biggest enemy in this game, OBS. You see, because the programmers of this game were asleep at the wheel when they were designing it, they made OBS turn the game into Fallout New Vegas. Just straight up doesn't work half the time. But I'm sure that won't impact me later. Now, after we take out a bunch of the ships, we're finally able to get access to the best weapon in the entire game, the Super Shotgun. By far, the best gun in the entire game, and it's not even close. It will pretty much be our only used weapon from the rest of the run. Now, we gotta go up and go take out some more demons in a giant arena, where we run into the Vagary Champion again, but for some reason, it isn't as much as an ass-clenching experience, because the non-boss ones actually take damage. Now, after we finish that up, we get yet another cutscene, where the Hairline Devil tries to take the Heart of Argent from Yes King, so his response is to blow up the entire city, like in SpongeBob. And he did all that just to throw one smoke grenade, grab it, and leave. I mean, I feel like you would have had more success if you just would have threw a brick at his head and then ran. I mean, that's the second biggest waste of grenades I've seen behind XQC. Azric is now trying to attack the main city, and while that's going on, Los Pollos does not want to send the Doomslayer because he's busy being a chud. Now, while he's sitting there doing nothing, the Doomslayer decides that he doesn't want to be anymore. So instead, he decides to just shake off his energy tether like it's nothing. So does this mean that he's stronger than Kratos? I don't know. All I know is that Kratos has better pecs. Anyways, Azric starts to attack, and we gotta go stop it. Now, this is one of those levels where it's basically one giant open world, but unlike Metroid Prime 4, it doesn't suck. And we're tasked with going around to go destroy some hell portals. Now, while I was in the middle of recording this, they decided to drop an update for the Doom DLC, and this added in a feature where you can turn off the slow-mo that happens whenever you parry. And although it may not seem like much, this is an absolutely massive change, especially for parry attacks that occur in rapid succession. So, yeah. Anyways, Anyways, we continue on the level and we get introduced to the leader system, where we have to kill a bunch of smaller demons before we're finally allowed to take on the leader demon, which most cases is usually just an essence demon. Now, after that, I get the second best weapon in the game, the chain shot, which is basically just hitting demons with your giant balls. Now, after I get through all the hell portals, I spend most of this level running around like an idiot trying to find extra upgrade items. But it works, and we're able to fully max out the shield. But after that, I find this ruby that I want. But in order to get it, I have to destroy 3 dog statues. And after running around for 15 minutes, I give up and look up a guide on YouTube just to find out that it was literally 20 feet from me. And I really am a giant idiot. Anyways, after we end the level, the demons break the energy wall and are able to make their way inside of the castle. Now, on to Siege Part 2, where we get a rematch with our mortal enemy, the turret. But this time, I don't die in the dumbest way possible. Now, most of Siege Part 2 is just spent running through combat encounters, and for some reason, this level doesn't have any places to upgrade. So it's basically just like running around London with more than $200. Now, once we get into this level, we meet the Revenant, and keep a note on him because he's going to be important much later. Now, once we're about halfway through the level, we hear a word that Yes King is being attacked. So we gotta go up and save him, because I can't lose him again. And while we're on our way up there, the game literally starts shitting itself, because in one of the encounters, I kept constantly getting hit with damage through my shield. You see, the way the shield is supposed to work is it has its own amount of health, but it can take more damage, it'll just break. Now, because there's more damage being dealt than health it has, it breaks the shield and deals damage to me. But it's not just on attacks, it's also on parries too. I'll hear the sound indicating that I parried a projectile, just for it to still deal damage to me anyways. Why does this happen? I don't know, but it's going to be extremely prevalent for a lot of fights later in the game. Anyways, we get through this awful arena, and I'm finally able to upgrade my guns, because of course, it's like that. Anyways, after we head up the elevator, we see Yes King being brutally attacked by the Hairline Devil. You know, I think the reason why he wants the Heart of Argent so bad is it's like the Schmalugals and Smiling Friends. He needs them to restore his hairline. Anyways, we see the Doomslayer making his entrance, and promptly starts aura farming before getting absolutely bitched. But the Doomslayer is about running that fade, so we get right up and try to blast him in a mech suit, but of course, he teleports away. So anyways, on the next level, I'm gonna head over to the Ancestral Forge because I desperately need help. Because this level is absolutely awful. Because after you spawn, you end up fighting a Cyber Demon right next to a Mancubus, and trying to fight 2 things at the same time always goes very well. Now, despite that, most of this level is not very bad. There's a couple of difficult arenas, but there's more than enough space to be able to run away from anything. And even the final arena is not that bad, mainly just because there's a lot of explosive barrels, and those are unaffected by my half damage. But did you really think this level would be that easy? Before we're able to get into the Ancestral Forge, we have to fight an Agadon Hunter, and this guy is an absolute bastard, because you can only attack him when he's actively attacking you. But by far the most annoying part of this boss is the fact that every time he hits you, he constantly pushes you back just far enough to make the super shotgun deal not as much damage as it should. Plus the fact that I somehow managed to keep dying to fodder demons. Plus, it also doesn't help that when you use OBS, this game turns into launch Fallout 76. And of course, even once I beat the boss, the game still managed to break. But after we kill him, we're able to finally enter the Ancestral Forge. Now, once we're finally in the Ancestral Forge, we gotta turn on 3 switches in order to turn on a heart, which powers this thing. Which, wait, why is this a heart? Anyways, we gotta turn on switches in order to turn the heart back on. And most of this level is really just multiple wave combat encounters in order to turn the switches on. But once we're able to get all 3 switches on, we can keep running around looking for more upgrade items. And I'm finally able to find a Wraith Stone, which is what we can use to finally max out the super shotgun. And the funny thing about this is that this is the only actual straight up damage upgrade in the entire game. Everything else is just gimmick damage, which I found kind of interesting. Anyways, we gotta go fight another Agadon Hunter, but this one is nowhere near as bad, mainly just because he has a lot less health. Now, once we finally head into the forge, we get our very first shield rune, which is basically whenever you hit a parryable object, your shield will spit out some kind of effect like a shock or stun. But the best part about them is that some of them do absolutely insane amounts of damage. Problem is the one we got is absolute doo-doo dog ass. I mean, the earthquake is basically worthless. But after we get our shield rune, we have to do another giant battle. And this one really is not too bad. Anyways, we come back in and we find out that Master Chief actually is the Heart of Argent, and that we've been betrayed by Los Pollos. And this whole time, we've been running around with a damn turncoat. Yeah, I already made this joke. Anyways, they go plot to make use of the power. But for now, we head into hell to go take out some hell cannons. And we're able to grab the rocket launcher before heading over to our first hell cannon. Now, once we get there, we run into a bunch of mancubi. And little did I know, they also shoot the same poison attack as the Vagary champion does. God damn it, why the fuck is there a slow on the poison? Why? Why? Anyways, after we take out the Essence Demon, we're able to take down one of the Hell Cannon. And after we make our way over to the next one, we find out that the other Essence Demon is a Cyber Demon. And he's also a Leader Demon. And Leader Cyber Demons are by far the most annoying thing in this entire game, because all they do is shoot you from afar like little bitches. Now, normally this wouldn't be that hard, but the problem is every time I went up to go fight the Cyber Demon, I was given a lobotomy. You know, I'm really glad that this is the worst that this game has to offer in terms of parry bullshit. Anyways, after we take control of the second Hell Cannon, we're able to pick up a power cell, and after getting mildly annoyed by the Vagary champion, we make our way over to the Atlan, just to have a ginormous stroke trying to get through 5 enemies. I don't know why, but for some reason I died like 6 times here for no reason. It wasn't even that hard of an encounter. But we're able to make it and get up in the Atlan. Now, it's time for quite possibly the worst Atlan section in the entire game. You see, this Atlan section, it's pretty short. It's only like 2 sections long, and one of them you have a gun, so it's really not that hard. But this first section is so stupidly difficult, it makes absolutely no sense. You're fighting like 4 enemies at the same time, and it didn't help that my gameplay was like Flight Reacts playing Fortnite. Now, after the first arena, we have to fight a second one where we have to fight an Armored Titan, a Ranged Titan, and a regular Titan at the same time. And the ranged attack window makes absolutely no sense, because the perfect dodge window for it is just straight up non-existent. Now, after we get through that, we're finally able to get down to the shotgun section, which is considerably a lot easier. And after we get out of the Atlan, I have a stroke trying to get the secret on top of it. But after we get it, we get the best shield rune in the entire game. So I immediately head over to a shrine to go max it out. And this shit is absolutely busted. Now, after we make it up to Azric's castle, he decides to go ahead and bitch out. And we have to fight an Essence Demon Agadon Hunter. But I actually decided to lock in and take my meds, and it was quite an easy fight. Next up, we're in the Sentinel command station, and we're just chilling, relaxing, until all of a sudden, the base is being attacked. And we gotta go get in our dragon in order to stop it. But first, we gotta figure our way out of the Sentinel command station. Now, for some reason, this level itself is really short. Like, there's only 4 arenas in this entire level, and it's in this level where I can finally get to show you how absolutely stupidly broken the holy daggers are. Now, the main thing with this level is that there's quite a lot of optional fights you can do for extra upgrade items, but I really don't need them anymore because everything else sucks mega ass. And keep this in mind because it's going to come important much later. You know, it felt weird having a level that didn't just put me into the Squidward Crusher every time I tried to play it, but you know, I'll take it. Now, you remember how I said the last level was not too bad and it was actually kind of enjoyable? Yeah, this is just not. See, this level introduces the Cacodemon, and somehow they made it worse than they did in Eternal, because for some reason they gave it the ability to turn itself fucking invincible.
If it's invincible, then why can't I see it?
Are you sure?
Anyways, this stupid little bastard is absolutely the worst enemy in the entire game. I cannot express to you how much I hate it. And you also have to deal with an Agadon Hunter, and multiple Hell Knights, and multiple Pinky Riders. But the Agadon Hunter is not as bad because you can use the shield rune attacks against him, and the Leader Demon is really not that bad. But somehow, this second section of this is worse, because they decided to make the Leader Demon, who is invincible, a fucking Revenant. So the entire time, while I'm trying to fight other demons, I'm constantly being shot at. Plus, you have to fight another Vagary champion while the Revenant is still shooting at you. But that is literally all the entire combat in this level. Yeah, I got really lucky because any more of this would have just given me 5 different hemorrhoids. And I don't know if that's even possible. Anyways, after we get rid of all the tentacles from the monster, one more comes out of the portal and decides to kidnap both Los Pollos and Master Chief, and we're not able to stop it. Now that Master Chief got kidnapped, they want her back, and the only way to get her is to release this creature. So we make our way over there, and after getting through a quick fight, we end up fighting the Komodo champion. And this is the worst super heavy in the entire game. You know, at this point, I'd gotten pretty good at fighting cyber demons, and Agadon Hunters, they'll respect you if you run away. This bitch constantly shoots projectiles at you that will instantly knock you down to low health or break your shield. And he can deal damage just by running at you. And he also has super glitchy parry hitboxes. I am not kidding you. I got hit from behind a wall by this guy. I mean, trying to get this game to work is like asking Kai Cenat to build those schools that he promised to build in Nigeria. It's just never gonna happen. Now, after we kill the Komodo, it's revealed that the makers were hiding a giant ball sack, and the only way to get it open is to go punch some stuff. After we get rid of all the blockers, the thing is finally awake, but we have to give it something in order for it to get out of the ball sack. We need to go get the BFC, but before we can get it, we have to do a fight with literally every enemy in the entire game. Yes, I'm not kidding you. You have to fight 2 at a time of every enemy in the entire game. And normally this wouldn't be that bad, but at the end you have to fight the combo of a Komodo and an Essence Demon Revenant, which is the worst possible combo you could create. Mainly just because of the insane amount of projectiles that somehow always manage to one-shot my shield, and then I can't parry, and then I die over and over and over again. But after finally locking in, we're able to get our hands on the BFC, and this thing is an absolute game changer, because if I don't feel like doing a certain section, I can just not do it. Now, I only have 3 ammo, but that's more than enough. Now, because of the insane amount of ammo that we end up getting during the rest of this level, it makes it an absolute breeze. And we're able to open up the cage, and it turns out that the old one was actually the one in the cage, and he takes us to a different dimension. Now, this next level, we have to go find Master Chief in this weird dimension, and after completing a puzzle, we're able to get the best melee in the entire game, the Dread Mace, and this thing absolutely fucks. I mean, I don't know why, but it is so satisfying to use. Anyways, after we continue through this level, we get introduced to 2 new enemies. The Witch, which is extremely annoying because she'll make herself invincible until you defeat her clone, and the Cosmic Baron, which is an extremely aggressive super heavy demon. But the difference is unlike the Cyber Demon, they somewhat respect personal space. Now, other than that, this level, for some reason, is stupidly easy. Like, it's not even a struggle at all. And also, this level is really short, and so is the rest of this mid-game. Now, this next level, we have to go get 2 parts of a key in order to keep progressing. In this level, I actually enjoyed playing. So yeah, for the first time in this entire challenge, I actually had fun playing a level. And I only died 4 times in this entire level. It was so nice. The first section of this level was nice and fun and easy. The second section was not as easy. I died a couple of times, but it was still not that bad. And once we're able to get through the portal, we have 1 more encounter to deal with. But because I really didn't feel like dealing with it, I decided to use the BFC. You know, I really think that BFC doesn't stand for Ballistic Force Crossbow. It stands for Badge for Chuds. Now, for this next level, we gotta get through a temple. And this level starts the precedent of having these insanely giant arenas with tons of enemies in them. But one thing I was able to figure out is that for encounters with the leader demon, all you have to do is kill the leader demon, and all the other demons will just despawn. Now, after getting through 2 large encounters, we're ready to go head up and go find Master Chief. But before we can get there, we end up getting eaten by the old one. Now, you remember how I said I was having fun these last couple of levels? Yeah, this level is the start of the end game, and it's absolutely awful. For this level, you have multiple different arenas that have multiple waves of demons that almost always end with horrifically awful combos. Now, for most of this level, it's not insanely long, but I had to rely on the BFC a lot. I mean, the first arena alone took me 20 minutes, simply because I kept dying on the last phase. But at least there's enough BFC ammo to keep you at a decent amount. Now, after going around and pressing a couple of buttons inside the old one, he literally just fucking dies. Yes, all you have to do is just poke him around inside and he just dies. Now, after we kill him, we start climbing the stairs in order to make it up to Master Chief. But before we're able to finally get to her, there's one final section. And this level had caused me so much pain that I used a BFC shot that I probably really didn't need to. But I was so done with this stupid ass level. Now, after we finally find Master Chief, it turns out that this was a trap. Wow, who could have seen that coming? Definitely not me. And now, Azric has the heart, which is not good, and we end up getting trapped. But after watching enough garbage slop content on YouTube, we lose our mind and don't really care anymore. So we just blow ourselves up and die. Now, once we're dead, we gotta find a way out. And this level introduces the Berserk power-up, which is pretty funny because it's supposed to be like this magical one-shot item. But when you half your damage, demons can tank 2, sometimes 3 shots from it. But anyways, About halfway through the level, I get bored and decide to play Doom Eternal because my shield decided to just disappear. Boy, do I love these bugs. Anyways, outside of that, this level is not too bad. There's one giant arena encounter, but you have access to a berserk, which makes it laughably easy. And after that, we start to head down to one of the ships. But before we can get there, we meet the real evil of all evils, the IRS asking for money. Now, after refusing to pay our taxes, we get on the ship and take it over to drive back to our local Popeyes. Now, after leaving the afterlife, we're put into hell because this one level is so stupidly difficult, it is not even funny. I am not kidding you, the first section of this level took me 30 minutes, and they were 30 of some of the most infuriating moments of my entire life. The second section of this was not as bad, but also had an enhanced Komodo, which after about 5 attempts, I gave up on trying to fight it and just decided to use the BFC. Now, the third section was nowhere near as bad because I had access to Berserk, and I saved enough BFC ammo so I could just use it again on this section. Now, after I got through this part, we get up on the dragon and head over to go kill Benedict Arnold. Now, the first phase of this fight is really easy, and the thing I find the funniest about this is that this motherfucker is so lazy, he refuses to get out of his chair to fight you. You have to beat him down, and only then does he leave his chair. Now, the fight itself is not terrible. The first phase is really easy, but the second phase just takes forever because you spend so much time trying to take out his shield. And it didn't help that I kept running into those stupid AoE damage spots that would immediately take away all of my health. But after we beat the Creed, we decided it would be best to put him on a weight loss program because Lord knows he needs it. Now, for this next Atlan fight, instead of being in a stinky, regular, poor people Atlan, we're in the Royal Atlan, which has access to guns on it, which you think it would make this section better, but not really. However, I began to develop a frontal cortex, and the first part of this Atlan section was really not too terrible. But after we completed it, we have to fight the old one. Yes, I know you kill the old one like 5 times in this game. I don't know where they keep getting them. They just like pull them out of a hat. Now, this fight is really bad, mainly just because the dodge windows on this fight are absolutely microscopic, and because of the decreased damage, the only way I can actually get damage on him is by dodging and constantly using the guns on the Atlan. Now, the attacks that you really have to watch out for is his 3-hit combos, because sometimes he chooses to do the 3rd hit, and sometimes he doesn't. It really just depends. And you kind of just have to wait and see, and sometimes be okay with sacrificing an attack window in order to not get hit. Now, the only good part about this boss fight is that even in his second phase, he has a lot of downtime between his attacks, which lets you get a lot of free charge off on some of your Atlan attacks. Now, after about 45 minutes of attempts, I was actually able to string together enough dodges and finally take down the old one. But oh boy, we're just getting started. Because now it's time for Enhanced Azric, and oh boy, this fight is absolutely awful. He's extremely aggressive, he does not stagger, he does not take any damage, and if you screw up one of his parry windows, you'll just die. Now, sometimes if your shield breaks later in the combo, or if he does certain attacks, you may be able to get into a melee and actually stagger him and save yourself, but in most cases, you're just gonna end up dead. Now, Azric has the funny gimmick where he'll also sometimes feign attacks. Like in one of his swiping moves, sometimes he'll hit you twice, sometimes he'll hit you 3 times, sometimes he'll only hit you once. And you remember that turret I was talking about earlier having a minor use case? Yes! This is the only minor use case because the turret is single target, and it barely does any damage anyways. And instead of telling you how hard this phase was, I'd rather just show you my winning attempt. Be perfect, I guess. I would recommend it. It lasts so long. Yeah. That's how much damage it does. It's meant to restore health. Okay, you're not doing this at the right time. Oh my god, oh, Azric. You're annoying me, man. Annoy me, man. We're focused. We're locked in. Making money moves. I got lucky there. I got caught with my pants down. Oof. Really? Not cool, dude. Not cool. Problem is, I gotta make sure I stay focused, because if I'm gonna hit once. That's it. Okay. Wish these dropped armor, but they don't. Ooh, I got lucky with that double flush. No, I don't have it. Shit. Come on, don't fuck this up. Come on, give me a parry ball. Come on, give me a parry ball. Come on. Almost got it. Come on! So close. No! No one. Oh my god. Oh, what am I doing? Alright, I don't think I've got it. Fuck this up. Alrighty. Good first phase. Good first phase. And for anyone keeping count, I only got hit 2 times throughout the entire phase. Now, in phase 2, Azric finally decides to get rid of his awful hairline and just go straight bald. Now, the phase 2 attacks are not too much different from the first phase. There's more 3-hit combos, but a lot of them are really telegraphed and not terribly hard to dodge. The biggest difference in this phase is that he spawns those spiky pillars, which take up a lot of space on the battlefield. And if you don't take them out, they're going to break your shield with projectiles. And constantly having to take your focus off Azric to take them out leads to a lot of accidental deaths and bad blocks. And in this phase, I only got hit twice on my winning attempt, because yes, the margin of error is that small in this fight. Now, after phase 2, we get stabbed, and this is really bad, and I don't know if we're gonna make it out of this, but luckily, the goat Surratt comes in and saves us for a little bit. But then Azric, being the little bitch he is, decides to kill Surratt, and now we're gonna stand on business. Now, I don't know if I like the third phase more because the music was better than the other 2 phases, but I'll tell you, the gameplay was like hitting yourself in the head with a metal pole. Now, the third phase introduces a couple of different attacks, mainly 2 big ones. One of them is the start of the phase, where he has a bunch of projectiles come at you, and you have to parry them. The second is an absolutely giant 5 combo attack, where the last 3 attacks are extremely glitchy and don't like to work right. Now, third phase Azric is unbelievably aggressive and is constantly trying to attack you. Now, the biggest thing when it comes to this phase of Azric is pretty much just trying to stay calm and trying your best not to get greedy. Because of how often he attacks, you can never really get more than 1 hit in per stagger, and I would know. And this third phase was a bulk of the fight. It took me a full hour just to get through this one phase. Now, I know I'm really quiet in this clip, but it was because it was 11:30 at night and I had already been at this for 4.5 hours, and I was at my mental end. Always more opportunities to attack, which is not enough. Fuck you, Azric. Oh my god, I actually did it. Now, after we take care of Azric, he decides to just dip, which is so uncool. So, we gotta go after him. Now, this next level is really not that bad either, because I had the BFC to help with any sections I didn't want to deal with, but for most of it, it was really just not a bad level. The ending section with the boss Vagary Champion caused me to slightly shit my pants, but it really was not too terrible. And now, we have our final fight, which is Azric and the Witch. Now, this fight only took me about 30 minutes, but it felt a lot longer than that. But it really was not a terrible fight, because in this fight, both Azric and the Witch actually get staggered at somewhat of a reasonable rate. But most of the time was just spent on the first phase, because the first phase was really annoying, trying to both counter Azric and dodge all the projectiles from the Witch. But once I was able to do that, I was absolutely able to get Azric's booty. And the second phase is utterly free. It's not even a problem. Anyways, challenge over. Time up. Please let me out of this prison. Anyways, I wanted to thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry that it took so long, okay? It takes a while to be a baller. And I will see you next time where I get a little funky.